Alright, welcome back. So in this video, we are going to start with the final small things that I was talking about of Blogify. And the thing is that there will be only just this one video because there are just two things that I had listed out once earlier. And once we have done that, we will be done with Blogify from my side. And then if you want, you can add some more features, which like I have added the features in Trello, the kind of features that I would like to add in Blogify if we had a lot more time. I mean, we could have a lot more time. That's not a problem. We are not bounded. But I do not want to spend so much time on this just one single thing. Plus, it'll be good if you have some experience by yourself too, right? So that's why. And first of all, let's visit our Trello. So I was like adding things in a really broad perspective in this all the time when we were doing it, right? So here are all the things that I had done and that we had done, right? These are the things that are in the to-dos for a long time now because I had left them for the end. And these are the things that we are going to do today, right? In this particular video. This will be the focus for this video, and today we'll start with something new, right? And these additional features, this thing, you can take a screenshot of this if you want. This is the thing that you could try to add by yourself once you've finished the course and you've got your certification, right? So I'll briefly explain all of these features in the end of this video, but for now, let's just focus on this, right? So the first thing that we have to add the assets folder. So what is that? So basically the thing is that if you have some static images, like let's see if my server is running here. So my server is not running. It is running now, and I will run MongoDB. Great, so both my things are running, and now if I refresh the page, this one, you can see I have a static image back here, right? And if I go to my home page, I have a static image back here. So the thing is that if you see in this Trello too, I have something called as a user profile image. And you must have noticed that Facebook and all of the big platforms allow you to enter a user profile image. And if you have not entered a user profile image, then you have a static image there. So another static image comes into picture. So you can imagine how many static images you might have in your page. Like there was one app that I was working on. It had like 10 or 12 such images for different purposes. So, and if you're if you're updating your UI to become really like super great, then you might have some loading screens or something on your page, and that will also require you to use some graphics. So you can imagine how many static images you might need on your page, right? So what you could do is you could ideally do what we are doing right now. You could just leave it to be URLs to images. Like currently, if we see this page, so this is the home.ejs, right? So if I go to my views and I go to my home.ejs, you can see I have item, no, right. So here's the Jumbotron, and on styling, I actually have, if I go to this styling, I will go to home.css. Where is it? Here it is. So you can see I have a really long image URL here. Not really long, but I have an image URL here, right? Great. This could work and this will work in most of the cases. But a couple of problems. One, I personally, I don't know if other developers like this or not. I do not like to rely on other sites for my website a lot. Why? Because at some point of time, if this URL collapses or if they have to change it for something and this whole URL changes, I will have to update my whole site, right? And that can become a problem. So that's one thing. And second, loading things from a URL every time you are loading your page is increases your time of loading a little bit. It is unnoticeable from the human eye, of course, but it does increase a little time. So what we can do is we can download these images offline and then we can link to them, right? So this was something that I did not discuss earlier, and the reason behind that is that this is something that we could have worked without. But now that we have completed the site functionality wise, I want to do something which you would normally do in a production app, right? If you are making a really professional thing and you're making your own startup, let's say, So you will not be relying on Unsplash for all the images, right? You will have some images of your own, or you might get some graphics. So having them offline is definitely something that you want. So for that, we are doing everything inside folders. We could make another folder for that, right? So this is my folder structure right now. So what I can do is inside Blogify, I can add another folder called assets, right? And sorry, I added a file by mistake, so I'll delete this. So inside Blogify, I will add a new folder called assets, right? And inside this, I can start placing all my images, and then I can work with them, right? So let's just download these images first, right? So what we'll do is we'll visit this URL. Let's copy all of this. We'll go to Chrome. We'll paste this in. I'll go with this. And now what we can do is we can just simply save image as. And now you have to so now you have to like select your whole path to your assets directory, and you have to move into that, and then you have to just press save, right? So now our image has been saved, and the name, we should have changed the name, but doesn't matter, we'll change that from VS Code itself. So this was the image, and you can see VS Code opens it up for us too. And what we can do is we can rename it. Let's rename it to home.jpg, right? So now we have a home.jpg inside our assets directory, and all we need to do is, instead of this whole URL, we just have to give the path to this particular image, right? And now what we'll do is, and that first of all, we'll just actually move this inside the public directory so that this can work better, right? So assets are now inside the public too. And what we can do now is we can do URL dot slash assets slash home.jpg, and this should ideally work. So now let's refresh, and it actually shows up. So now it's offline saved, and it will take minutely more time than what it was taking if we were loading it from this long URL, right? So we're going to do a similar thing for our other two, which was in the explore section. So that's the blogs index.ejs, and we have to go to index.css, right, inside the blogs directory. Now I'll copy this whole link. I'll paste this in here, and I'll save this image. And so inside, so now I'm going to save it inside my assets, and the name will be blog index, right? We'll make it as readable as possible and as logical as possible, right? So now inside the assets, I have my blog index.jpg, and I can remove this URL from here. I want to remove just the URL, and I'll do dot slash. So I'm currently in this. I'll have to do dot slash again, and assets slash blog index.jpg. Let's go to explore, and although this is already loading from that, but we'll just refresh, and you see it is still loading, means our assets thing has worked perfectly. So this was the only thing that I wanted to do here, and the thing is that this is optional to do, but this could like increase your site speed by just a little bit, right? So that's why I showed you how to do this, and now this is much more reliable. Just you could have these images online too somewhere to like have a backup or something if in case they ever get deleted by mistake, but loading them from a local place is actually, I think, much better. Great. So the assets thing is done, and now we just have to add specificity to the routes in app.use statements, right? So what I mean by that is basically currently if we see the routes here, so now I'll close all the other files I have here, right? Where are the routes? We are including the routes in here, right? So we're just doing app.use, index routes, blog routes, comment routes. And while this is reasonable, but we could like add some specificity inside the app.js itself about which routes it has to see where. And what I mean by that is that we could add like something like this, and I'll explain the syntax in just a second. This and this, and then what we could do is like instead of like writing the whole route, so what this is doing now is this is telling app that if you have slash blogs slash something, then go inside the blog routes, do not go inside anything else, right? And this will be checked first. Great. So now let's just go inside the routes because we'll have to update them too. So again, this is optional, you could choose not to do this, but this is something that you will see in almost every place. So now wherever we have slash blogs, that will already be appended from here. So we just have to write slash here. So what this means is the slash blogs will be taken from app.js and the slash will be added from here. So slash blog, so we could change this to slash blogs slash new. We'll change the link in the navbar again, although this should be slash blog slash new, but I think that was an error. So we could use like slash blogs slash new here. So slash blog slash new does this, and slash blogs slash id does this. And this actually needs to be slash blog slash id slash comments, right? So whenever we have comments, they will go inside the comment routes. So this is basically telling that whenever something is starting from this, go into these routes. So index routes are starting from slash, so we just make it slash, right? And then we could have slash id slash edit, and we could like remove this slash from here because we already have a slash in the index routes. And we could move this in the end. Great, and this will remain just a slash. This will remain just a slash id, sorry, and this will become slash id, and that's it, right? So now our blogs routes are set up like this, and let's just refresh. And you can see it still works. And if I go to slash blogs slash new, this is currently linked to slash blog slash new, right? So I could now log in as John Doe. And you can see now I can go to slash blogs slash new, and it takes me to this, even though I have just written slash new here, because slash blogs is appended from here. And we could do like a similar thing for the comments too. So let's go into that. Let's go into comments.js. And first thing, let's just change the header close.ejs, and let's change this button to be slash blogs slash new, right? Alright, so now in the comments, this is already coming from before, right? So I'll have to remove this from here. This will just be a slash, and this will just be slash colon comment id, right? So now our comments routes are actually set up, but this is actually a problem because we are using rec.params.id here, right? And the id is in this route, not in this route. So we have to just make a really, even though they're the same route, but that is not listed in here, right? So Express will not consider this by default. We will have to add one check to this and like one line to actually make this work. And that is that when we are doing this express.router, we just need to do merge params true. So what this does is this takes the parameters from this thing too, and they're added in here too, and you can use them here without any issues, right? So now let's refresh. It will tell me to log in because the server has been restarted. I'll go to one post. I'll go to add a comment, and you can see the comment still works. We can add a comment. Thanks again, add comment. And that is added too because all the comment routes are working too. And you have seen that we have already worked with login and logout here. So the index routes are working too. So now we have like added some specificity to the index routes or to all the routes. And now in here we have really small URLs first of all. And you can see that it is like very, you can just see and tell that this is RESTful routing, right? Because this is not really long. This is a /new and this is the new route. /id is the show route. /id/edit is the edit route. And all the major URL is given in here, right? This especially makes a huge difference in the comment. Earlier we had very large URLs and now we have just one word each, right? So this was basically this. So these two things are also now done, right? So all of this is done. And now let's talk about the additional features. So these are the features that you can actually add to your website, like I said in the beginning of the video. So let's just discuss in brief what I wanted to say when I added all these features. So add image upload Cloudinary. What I mean is that let's say currently you are adding a blog, right? So let's go to login. John Doe. Password. Login. You see, I can add a post, but what it's asking me to do is entering an image URL, right? Now, we did this when we were developing it. That's fine. But if you imagine somebody using your website, would they like to actually use their image URL? Like, what if they have their own image that they want to upload here? And then what will they do? They will have to like go to some image hosting site like Imager and then get a link for their image. But we all know that that's a bit of a hassle and a lot of people might not like to do that. What you could have is like a simple option to upload your image from here, right? A downloaded image from your computer, and it will open like a file explorer here and you can select your image from that. So that is something that you could add, and for that I'm giving you a hint that you have to integrate Cloudinary, which is a cloud service, with Node.js. You just have to Google Cloudinary Node.js and you'll get a lot of tutorials, right? This is something you could add, and you could have a rich text editor to enter blogs and comments, right? Currently we have text area because if you remember I had said that rich text editor requires you to write a lot of code. I mean some code to actually use it on the backend, right? The best text editor out there, which is Quill. So you could add that as an additional feature. Admin mode, right? So you could make a user, you make like a particular user as an admin. So let's say there is a new user here and I make him an admin. So what he will be able to do is he will be able to remove any post regardless of whether it is his own or somebody else's, right? And he will have complete control over whatever is happening. All the features that we've hidden here from people will be available to him no matter what happens, right? And you could like have something while signing up, registering, that if the person enters something correctly, blah blah blah, some secret code or something, or you could have any method to choose who is an admin, and the admin has a permission to do anything, right? So this is basically only an extra field inside the user schema, if whether the user is an admin or he is not an admin, right? Like dislike, you could add a like dislike feature to your blogs, right? That will require you to make some new routes. Then that it will be a button here, which will be an icon. You will click on it, and then it will submit to somewhere, and the likes will be updated or the dislikes will be updated, right? Update comments. So this is the one feature that we've not added, that is updating your comment. And the thing is, you have to do it with indication that whenever you update a comment, then it should be written down there, like that the comment has been edited, something like that, right? User profile page. So currently, if you are logged in, you do not have any way to visit your user profile. So what you could do is you could add a user profile where you could display the user profile image, which is one more thing. You could ask a user to enter his profile image while logging in, or sorry, while registering. So you could display his image, his small description, and you could like display his posts, his comments, and you could use that to do anything you want, right? And then you could make a separate page for that. So that will require you to make new view, a new route, and you could like do update user profile too. You could like do delete user profile. You could do loads and loads of things in this, but these are just a small amount of things that I've listed out here. And there can be a lot of improvements in this app even now, right? And I would have loved to do that with you, but that will take a whole lot of time because I'll have to explain everything, and each of these things might take one day each if I have to explain everything in detail, right? If I don't explain in detail, then I can finish them in like 3 days, but that's not very good practice, right? So these are the things that you could add, and then finally, congratulations, and you have finished Blogify with no ifs and buts, right? Up until now, I was always saying that you have finished Blogify, except this one thing. But now I can say that you have finished Blogify without anything left, right? And after this, we are going to learn one or two more new things, but they are not related to Blogify. They are related to like version control and controlling the version of your website. You might have seen that they have a lot of versions. And then finally pushing any website that you have made to a URL like this, right? And not just localhost 3000 or the GURM URL you might be visiting, right? So these are the only two things left in the course, and then we'll be done. And for the Blogify, we are already done, right? So congratulations, you can add this in your resume now. Great. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye.